All right, we are finally live for our post-game reaction to the San Francisco 49ers win versus the Bucs. Man, what a gritty performance. There's a lot of adjectives you can use to describe that win by the San Francisco 49ers, but they get it done in the end. And hey, wasn't pretty at times. And I'm sure as a 49er fan, you might have had a little bit of doubt creep in, but still they were able to get the win in Christian McCaffrey's season debut. Also, Ricky Pearsall got his first career touchdown. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and honestly, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your thoughts on the game and what you guys were thinking about this one. So we're going to get into it all right now, but you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat, smash that like button, and let's get into it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, guys, how are we feeling? I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Let me know what you guys are feeling about this one. Obviously, the kind of main story about this one came about Jake Moody and the missed kicks, and then that led to an on sideline scuffle between Taybor Pepper and Deebo Samuel. It seems like those guys were able to bury the hatchet, but after that, Jake Moody comes back and he kicks the game-winning field goal. Just a wild sequence. That sequence at the end where it felt like the 49ers' chances to stop Baker Mayfield and the Bucs was just imploding right in front of their eyes. Penalty after penalty after penalty, and they just kept moving and moving. I mean, Baker Mayfield makes that insane throw with Nick Bosa draped all over him on 4th and 7, and then they get another conversion and then another conversion, and it was crazy to see out there. But nonetheless, there are positives to take away from that. Even though it wasn't pretty, and even though it was disjointed, they survived. There's something to say for surviving that kind of performance, because I know at the end we were sweating bullets for sure. Shout out to Lester for becoming a member of the YouTube channel. Welcome to the SDS, my guy. I appreciate you, Lester. Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank. All right. Appreciate you joining the channel. But man, it was nerve-wracking, because you could see, hey, shout out to the San Francisco 49ers. They were able to get a stop, right there at the end. Kept Baker Mayfield to only 3 points. And again, they got into scoring position, and the San Francisco 49ers were able to keep them out from scoring a touchdown. So that was the silver lining that I really think allowed the 49ers to come back and win that game, because it only meant the Bucs could come back and tie it. And man, just what a sequence. That last sequence was really, really crazy for sure. But, you do got to give a lot of credit to Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers offense. I felt like Brock was a little shaky to start. There were a couple throws that he definitely missed, and you would want to have back, and I would say were uncharacteristic of a Brock Purdy type throw. But he was able to lock in, especially down the stretch, and then you had that phenomenal touchdown to George Kittle in the back corner of the end zone. Kittle double taps the feet. It was a beauty. Also, Shout out to Juwan Jennings playing the X wide receiver position for the first time in his career. And he played really, really well. And he had some big conversions for the San Francisco 49ers offense. Juwan Jennings, 7 receptions for 93 yards. Very important 93 yards by Juwan. So Kittle continues to be I think George Kittle's the best tight end in the NFL. If you've listened to me, if you followed this channel before, I've been saying George Kittle's the best tight end in the NFL since 2019. So this really isn't a new thought process for me. But I think now everyone is kind of like on board with it. For me, I've been adamant that George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL since 2018, after his 2018 season, where he broke the record. Because he broke the record while being the best blocking tight end in the NFL. I'm like, oh, that seems like you would be the best tight end in the NFL. So George, man, great job, great yards after catch. Kittle was absolutely balling out. So shout out to George. It was great to see Christian McCaffrey back. For the San Francisco 49ers, I will say that even though McCaffrey did decently well, he had 13 rushes for 39 yards, a modest 3 yards a carry. He added 6 receptions, though, for 68 yards. That's the difference with CMC. That's kind of an interesting little dynamic to having CMC back is – although, from a rushing standpoint, really average performance, but the 6 receptions for 68 yards in the passing game, that's where you really miss Christian McCaffrey. His ability to do it as a receiver out of the backfield, be that check down, someone that Brock is like instinctually wants to go to as a check down. So that was a great thing to have. With CMC coming back into the mix. And again, shout out to Ricky Pearsall. And Ricky Pearsall was able to get his first NFL touchdown. It came on a really big play. Pearsall had 4 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown on the day. So, there's still plenty to work on, I would say. I think for the first half, again, I'm looking for something very particular with this group, with this offense. I think they're talented. That's not the problem. I think Brock Purdy's a really, really good quarterback. I think George Kittle's the best tight end in football. I think Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is arguably the best offensive player in football. You've got the best tackle in football. You've got Juwan Jennings, who's really blossoming into a star. Deebo Samuel, the wide back, offensive weapon. They have talent. My problem with the offense is the lack of rhythm. It just feels like they stall out more than they should. And what I don't like right now currently about the offense, and this has been the MO of a Kyle Shanahan offense for the longest of times, so it's nothing new, but when they get – and I understand this goes for anyone in the league. It's not just Kyle Shanahan. But it just feels like when they get into 3rd and long situations, it just feels like, all right, get the punt team ready. It doesn't feel like there is ever an attacking mentality, like let's get this first down, unless they have to. Does that make sense? Like if it's a game, changing 3rd down conversion that you need, of course they're going to be aggressive and they're going to attack it and they're going to go try to play beyond the sticks. But if it's early on in the game and they get into like a 3rd and 7, it just feels like it's almost like they're conceding. At least that's what it feels like at times. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily what they're doing, but sometimes I'm sitting here like, I felt like we could have been a little bit more aggressive to try to get the first down in this particular situation. Again, I understand I tried to set the context of it. So again, I'm not saying that it's crazy to think that, coordinators aren't trying to go for it all on, third and long. So I understand that. But I just think that there's a rhythm aspect to the offense that they've been trying to obtain. Like, we see it in glimpses. I mean, we've seen it a lot in the second half of games. It feels like they are starting a little bit slower offensively, and then after halftime, they're able to pick it up a little bit. So I don't know what that trend is an indication of, but it just feels like it would. I would love, and that's really what I wanted to see today. What I wanted to see today was more complementary football, more rhythm. That's specifically what I was looking for from this offense. Obviously, they get 413 total yards. That's phenomenal. Almost 200 yards more than the Tampa Bay Bucs did. 338 passing yards to Bucs, only 105. They didn't do as well in the rushing aspect of it with only 75 rushing yards. But you look at the third downs, 5 and 11. Conversion rate. Like to see that number come up a little bit. 3 sacks allowed. Obviously, the penalties, 6 penalties for 49 yards. That's a really tough situation. And of course, we'll get to the special teams in a second. But, just want to see more rhythm. Just want to see that a little bit more from this offense. Shout out to my guy, Ego. Hey, I got to meet chat legend Ego today. Yeah, my guy is built like a $30 million a year defensive end. If I ever need a bodyguard I'm hitting up Ego. My guy's built. Shout out to my guy, Ego. Dude, so cool. So cool chopping it up with you, man. It was super cool. Ran into him walking back, to my car. And I was like, it's like, he's like, I'm Ego. I was like, oh, Ego, let's go. Shout out to my guy, man. And shout out to today was crazy. Obviously, I'm going off on a tangent from my thought process, but so many people today said what's up and showed love, which is absolutely crazy because we're in Florida. I live in the Bay Area, so we're all the way across the country where I live, and I can't even tell you I can't even count how many people came up and said what's up, said they loved the content, snapped a picture. Like, it's crazy, and it's super humbling, and I just appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all those interactions, man, getting to meet you guys. It's super cool, because I'm behind the screen all the time, and I see your names and your profile pictures, and to be able to actually meet you guys and in person has been awesome, man. It's really cool. So awesome. That was a cool aspect of the game. But back to the actual analysis of the game. Hey, let's go T. Hey, man, like I said, dude, today was crazy. Man. So many people came and said what's up. Absolutely nuts. So I appreciate you guys. But from the game perspective, we're talking about the offense. Offense was able to get it done in the end, and shout out to that drive to win the game at the end. It really happened just how they needed it. You got a quick out to Jawan out of bounds. You got another quick hitter out of bounds, and so they were able to move the ball, and boom, they were upfield in 10 seconds and stop the clock. And then they get that nice gain to Jawan Jennings. And that leads us into, Jake Moody's game-winning kick. So it's time to be honest with you guys, or you guys be honest with me. what is your takeaway of Jake Moody's performance? We all know the miss. He had, what did he, 3 misses in this one? He went 3 for 6. 3 for 6 today. What's your thoughts on Jake Moody? Let me know in the chat. I want to see what you guys are talking about with this, because obviously he was out for about 4 weeks, coming back from an injury, and he missed those 3, and to the point where, you know, we saw a scuffle on the sideline. Now, I've never seen the 49ers scuffle on the sideline like that. Not sitting here saying that I've seen every sideline interaction that's ever existed for the San Francisco 49ers. I can only speak from my perspective. And I've never seen that. I've never seen a 49ers player karate chop another 49ers player in the throat. Never seen that. That was new. And then that whole situation and the way that whole thing played out, that was low-key crazy. It really was. So like I said, I've never seen that before. Now, I will say this. I have seen plenty of scuffles between teammates on a football field. I've gotten in scuffles with teammates of mine. It happens, man. Like, so I want to make that point particularly clear. Like, this, and they kind of spoke to it. It's such an emotional game that sometimes, like, when you want to win so bad, and when you don't feel like a guy is pulling his weight and you feel like you're doing everything you can. And again, that's not saying Jake Moody isn't pulling his weight. I'm just saying from the standpoint of, like, okay, he missed some big kicks. And Deebo's like, dude, we did everything we could to put you in a position to make those kicks, and you missed them. And I'm sure there's a ton of frustration that comes from that. I know I could feel the energy in the stadium. There were so many 49er fans there. There were definitely more 49er fans in that stadium opposed to Tampa Bay Bucs fans. And you could feel, like, the tense nature when it came to Jake Moody and his kicks. And so a lot of people just, like, just frustrated, right? And rightfully so. You want to win. That's the entire point of what you're doing. And, you know, for Jake Moody, his entire job is based upon the fact of making kicks. And so if you don't make your kicks, you know, if Deebo fumbled or if he didn't complete a play, it goes both ways. So now I don't think that was a great way to handle that situation by Deebo. Again, I don't know what was said. I don't know what I just saw. I just saw the action, and then kind of what ensued after that. But Jake made the kick. Jake made the kick. Maybe, like, dude, the stadium was groveling when Jake was about to kick that game-winning kick. Like, the energy, it's crazy, man. When you get around that many people, you can sense the energy. You can feel the energy, and it was just a nervous energy from the entire stadium because it was mostly 49er fans. And gosh, I wonder if in Jake's mind's like, dude, I better make this kick or I'm gonna get they're not gonna let me on the plane. So hey, credit to that's you talk about pressure for a kicker, I mean, you almost just got it. You just almost went back. You almost got him blow. I mean, technically, you didn't go to blows, but your long snapper went to blows with Deebo, a captain, over you missing a kick. So credit to Jake for making the kick. I would assume that kick probably saved his job. Because if Jake Moody misses that kick and makes that 4 misses, and they lose that game, I don't know how you. I don't know. And I'm not someone who calls for people to get cut or fired. Like that's just not. That's. I understand that these guys, this is their livelihood. They have families. Like this is a big deal for them. So I don't treat it that way. I treat it with that understanding. So, but if he missed, you have to really evaluate. Okay, the kickers that we just brought in, 2 kickers off the street, they go 8-8, and then he comes in and he misses. He didn't. He makes it. I think that saved him. So, and what tells me that saved him is the team's reaction. The team jumped him after the game. They were very, very excited that he made that kick. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Now let's see how it continues to go. With Jake, it's not a physical thing. He can boot the crap out of the ball. I think it just comes down to confidence at the end of the day. So that was just a wild situation, but I think that situation would have been much worse in a loss. Thankfully they win. And so that kind of calms the situation a bit. I actually wouldn't say a bit. I think a ton. I think a ton. We haven't talked about the defense yet. Let's talk a little defense here. Fred Warner led the team with tackles. I saw Devondre Campbell make a couple good tackles. I thought that Renardo Green and Diamador Lenore played well. Malik Mustafa played well. I think Jair Brown played well. So the young backs, man, holding it down without Mooney Ward out there. I thought they did well. I know they had to rotate in a little bit. I know Isaac Yadam was in, and then they had to actually play Rocky Sin because I think Renardo got banged up with a toe injury. I don't believe it's anything to be super serious, but it did happen. But I think they did play well. It was really 3 options for the Bucs. It was Bucky Irving, Rashad White, and Cade Otton. That's all they had. And they still almost took down the 49ers. You got to tip your cap to Baker Mayfield. Baker played a hell of a game. I thought Baker. I know it's not it's not popular to think Baker's a good quarterback. But I've thought Baker's been a good quarterback since the Oklahoma days. I've told you guys this a million times. There was a point when the 49ers were in 2017 that I actually wanted them to tank for Baker. I was full blown, like with every loss after a certain point, with every loss in 2019, I was like, yes, we're going to get Baker. But that changed really quickly when the 49ers traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. But Baker was good. I'm not saying that was a hot take. I projected Baker to be the first overall pick. I'm saying I wanted Baker on the 49ers. Not a lot of people wanted Baker on the 49ers. That's what I'm saying. And so he played really well. Bucky Irving is a phenomenal running back. I'm very impressed with Bucky Irving. I'm a big Rachaad White guy. Rachaad got a touchdown on a really nice screen, but Bucky Irvin's a player, man. Bucky Irvin's really good, and I think he tested that defense a little bit. He's really quick. He has extremely good cutting ability. He's great vision, but he's not a finesse back. He can actually lower his shoulder, and he can hit you. So those guys were good, but Cade Otton, they were able to figure out how to get him out of the game at the end. But I thought the defense for the 49ers, all things considered, they played a good game in spots, I would say. I feel like that's kind of what the 49ers are right now, is they play well in spots. I think if they're going to be a championship caliber team, they need to put together a 60-minute game. Now, George talks about this all the time. He talks about having to learn how to win gritty. This is what this season is. This season is winning gritty. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think we are now, it's November 10th. And out of a bye, this is what they look like. This is a little bit of who they are. They are going to have to continue to win gritty. That's just what it is. And so, they might come across an opponent. Well, they'll throw 30 on their head and they'll only score 10 points. That might happen. But the schedule is going to get really tough here. And, the gritty thing, the positives about winning gritty is that it will help you when you're able to elevate your level of play and you come across a more formidable opponent. And so when you come across a better team with more talent and you're able to raise your level of play, but you already have the mental ability to withstand the punches, to be able to withstand mental implosions. The fact that the San Francisco 49ers were able to survive that implosion at the end with the Bucs last drive, and for for the 49ers to drive down the field with less than a minute, and Jake Moody, the guy who, they might have left in Tampa if he misses this kick, comes in and makes it. That's grit. That is grit. Defense had to keep Baker and that Bucs team out of the end zone. They did that. Even though it was literally imploding on them, they stopped them. Then it was up to the offense. You can't be mad at that. You can have issues with certain drives, certain plays, certain series in this game. That wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. However, how they won in the face of adversity, you have to hold on to that part. I think you have to hold on to the part that is, they had every opportunity to lose this game. There's probably a point where they should have lost this game. Now, that's the difference than what we have heard in the past. We talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda, right, for this team's identity in the first half. That could be a little bit of a shift from that, because they did beat them. We know they should have beat them, and it got close. And there was a point where they probably should have lost. But they stuck it through. They were able to get the win at the end, and you have to celebrate that. I get it; it's a win, but it low key feels like a loss. I don't know if any of you guys feel that way. I would say, based on looking at the chat, that kind of is how you guys feel. It does feel like that even though they come away with the W, I think a lot of us know that we know that when we face the good teams in the NFL, that type of performance doesn't get you a win. And I think that's where a lot of fans are right now. I think from a perception standpoint, we continue to judge this team week in, week out like they are one of the best teams in the NFL. And when they go out and they don't perform like the best team in the NFL, even in a win, I think fans can be disappointed by that. So I understand that, but I do think there are a lot of positives to take away from this game. And I do think that this is something to build on. And you now have an opportunity to get the Seattle Seahawks coming off a bye, and you're back at home. And man, if you can do what we want them to do and go 2-2 and head into this double away game, Packers, Bills, and you can split on the road and you can go 3-1 in these next 4 games, that's a good spot to be in. So I get it. There was some things that need to be changed. They need to be corrected. And that has been a theme of this season. And I know that doesn't create a lot of confidence for a lot of fans. But I think it also is important to remember that it is there's still a ways to go. And I think that the 49ers are still in a good spot. Not where we want them to be. But, hey, you're above 500, 5-4. Get Dre Greenlaw back. Plug him into that defense. Let's see what we got. All right. I appreciate everyone for tapping into this one. Apologies for my tardiness. Took me a while to get back to the hotel. But I've had a great time out here in Florida. Florida is beautiful. I don't know if you can see what has happened to me. I'm purple. This is my skin. Oh, I got a necklace tan. I got a necklace tan. None of you got a necklace tan. Bro, that's crazy. I got a necklace tan. You see how purple I am? I got fried. But we got a win, so it was worth it. Oh, my God. Shout out to everyone. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to SDS, man. We got the win. And I appreciate you all. Smash that like button on the way out. Y'all the best. Hey, Victory Monday tomorrow. Let's go. Enjoy the rest of your night. It's weird that it's 7:30 for me, but it's not that at home. I don't know. It's weird. It's crazy. But it is what it is. We out. Appreciate you guys. Grab your cookies on the way out. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see